We do not need letters of recommendation. You yourselves are our letter, written on our hearts to be known and read by all. Amen. Strangely enough, everyone remembers the weather that day. It was temperate, perfect blue skies with distant horsetail clouds, the beginning of fall in Northern California. I was only half awake, but Heidi had just heard the news from Auntie Robbie on Maui. A plane had crashed into the side of the World Trade Center in New York City. And on our bedroom television, we watched the next plane hit, and ultimately we saw that massive landmark collapse into dust. 24 years ago today, I was deeply worried about my best friend from college. He worked in the Pentagon. I couldn't get word to him or find out how he was doing. We didn't even own a cell phone back then. Thankfully, he was in another building that day, but terrorists crashed an American Airlines flight into his office building, killed all 66 people on the plane, along with 125 civilian and military colleagues on the ground. It really took a few days before we understood what was going on, didn't it? We realized that my close work friend, Waleed Iskandar, was a passenger on the first flight to hit the towers. Waleed and I had shared an office together in that first few years after you graduate from college. He'd been born in Beirut, Lebanon, and had seen it during his course of his lifetime, the city just degenerate into chaos and conflict. He was educated in Kuwait and came to the United States to study at Stanford University. He was such a fun person. I wish I could express what he was like. He had a great sense of humor. He was always ready to goof off when we should be working. He always wanted to play Frisbee with me. I miss him very much. He was more American than I am, and he was ready for any wacky adventure all the time. And it wasn't a few days later that I learned that my rugby teammate, Mark Bingham, had also been in one of the planes. He was in that small group of passengers who overpowered the hijackers in the airplane cockpit, and they prevented United Airlines flight number 93 from hitting the United States Capitol building. So unable to reach anyone else, my friend Mark left this message on his aunt's answering machine. It's the last sound that we have of his voice. He said, "This is Mark Bingham. I want to let you guys know that I love you in case I don't see you again. I'm on United Airlines Flight 93. It's being hijacked." So this Sunday, when all of you were rehearsing, I was really glad you were there, but I wanted to take you out of rehearsal so that you could meet my college rugby coach, Jack Clark. So on Sunday, when you were rehearsing, he was on the forum. He's a huge guy, 6'5". He weighs 250 pounds. He's got an impressive figure. He played pro football. He was an extraordinary person. His teams at UC Berkeley, they've won 23 15s national championships, and they won 5 7-a-side national championships. So 28 national championships. And he was talking to me for a long time. We were talking and reminiscing about what Mark Bingham was like when he was 19 years old. I just remember him as just being kind of almost like a puppy, so enthusiastic about rugby. And Coach Clark talked about how today our other teammates are going to be running around campus with a flag to remember Mark's sacrifice many, many years ago. Now, despite being different in many ways, what made Waleed and Mark so extraordinary was their character. They were open and kind and gracious, but they could also be extremely focused, dedicated to their work. They could concentrate and succeed at very difficult tasks. So on Sunday, Coach Clark mentioned 2 things that he especially stood out for me. The first thing he said was that all his teams, all his work with sports begins with gratitude. He said that their motto lately has been entitled to nothing, grateful for everything. And the second thing that Coach Clark pointed out is that achieving excellence in one area makes it a lot easier to attain excellence in another. We learn what excellence looks like and feels like. And I've been thinking a great deal about this today as we celebrate the investiture of our newest choristers. This choir is one of the most difficult things that you'll ever undertake in your lifetime. Today, it will require focus and a challenge that you won't be asked for very many other times in your life. And so today we're celebrating the 13 boys who have been honing their skills, coming to choir class twice weekly for over the last year, along with rehearsal every day since January. They have been tested at choir camp, and they are ready to take their full place among our other choristers. Now, it would be negligent if I didn't also mention our 8th grade choristers, Gray, JW, Crockett, and Jack. I have been so impressed with the 4 of you watching as you've grown up, and I'm really impressed with you over the years, and I know that you're going to be great leaders in this group this year. I'm really excited about what you're going to bring to the choir. And I also want to point out that this is not an easy thing either. This choir is a choir that's internationally recognized, and it's one of the largest choirs we've ever had. So we've got a lot of challenges ahead this year. Now, I also want to mention that we recently learned the news that this will also be Burns Jones's last year. He's going to be graduating in this next spring with the 8th graders. I wanted to thank Mr. Jones for his dedication, his service to this cathedral, his service to the school. We talk about portrait of a graduate, what we imagine a graduate to be like, and Mr. Jones exemplifies that strong character, that wisdom, all the Christian virtues. And I'm grateful to have Mr. Jones as my friends, and I'm grateful that we can celebrate his many accomplishments over the course of this year. But I want to conclude by talking a little bit about what September 11th, 2001 felt like here at Grace Cathedral. I know, Kathy, you were here. Who else was here? Raise your hand. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So ask all the hand raisers about what it was like. But September 11th on that year was a Tuesday, and that day we had an overflowing crowd in a service in which Dean Allen Jones held up a small baby and talked about hope for the future. The next day was Wednesday night, and we had a huge service. Thousands of people were here. And the service began with a call to prayer in Arabic. The president told everybody to go to church, so thousands more came here on Thursday and Friday. One of my friends said that we saw waves. He said tsunamis of people coming up the hill to Nob Hill to Grace Cathedral from the financial district downtown. And do you know who greeted all those people as they got here? Thousands and thousands and thousands of people that terrible week. It was you, the choir, the staff, the volunteers, the clergy. You are the ones who showed them hospitality. You are the ones who helped them when they most needed it. We shared a picture of hope and of God's love for all people. And we helped people who had lost so much and who didn't know where to go. This choir, this clergy, these volunteers, we will be here for people again and again and again. The Apostle Paul writes to his friends in Corinth, and he says, "We do not need letters of recommendation. You yourselves are our letter, written on our hearts, to be known and read by all." Congratulations, choristers. Thank you for being God's letter of hope and possibility to the world.